Is it showing? Like, am I losing the fucking plot? Oh, one sec. Oh, hold on. Showing? Oh, it's working. Like, oh, it's working. Can y'all hear me? Oh, one sec. Oh, hold on. Oh, okay, right, okay. Be right back. Yeah, bye. we all? Are we good? Are we Gucci? How are we all feeling today? Are we nice? Are we comfortable? Are we happy? I'm live now. I didn't know if this was going to work, but it's actually working, so I'm actually quite happy with this. I didn't think I'd be able to move my Twitch stream setup over onto YouTube. And look at me, look at God. Ain't he good? Won't he do it? He sure will. I don't know why I say that. I'm a fucking atheist. Well, I'm not an atheist, I'm an agnostic, but anyhow. Hello! Oh, how are we all? I had my stream on. Okay, so... Hello, guys. It's me, Paigey Y, or Paigey Cakes if you're nasty, depending on what you want to call me. Or Petty. Some people still call me Petty. I'm not completely an arsehole. You can call me whatever the fuck it is that you want to call me. So today, I have a lot of thoughts and I have a lot of thick feelings. I don't know if anybody else knows this, but it hasn't got that many views. One sec, let me see if I can refresh the views on this page. Oh, it's got 38,000 views and it's only 2 hours. So I just kind of feel like more people need to see this. I'm sure people will by the morning, but I know how YouTube has been suppressing this young lady's voice for so long, not just in this situation, but in other situations. Like when she was trying to get her channel back, she literally fought for her life to get her content seen, and YouTube was like, fuck you. So we are going to be speaking about Spankie Valentine. She basically made a video, like the biggest drama video that I've seen for quite some time. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like honestly, the drama pool has been really quiet, but this has been like this. There wasn't just tea. The tea was hot and it was overflowing. So what I thought is I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna watch parts of it with you, and I will give you my commentary. We'll be going through the entire 1 hour and 6 minute video. We'll be watching it together. I'll be giving my commentary. I'll be talking to you guys, all of that good stuff. And if you like the way that this looks, if you like me talking to you, I do this actually like 4 days a week. Well, not recently. I've had a week off, but I do this like 3 to 4 days a week on Twitch. So you can definitely follow me on Twitch. It's Paigey Cakes UK on Twitch, so you can go follow me there. I do this quite frequently. Honestly, I think I'm a little bit nervous, I'm not gonna lie to you, because there's actually so many people in chat right now. And I'm so used to it being like our little community of like 70 and below. So like yeah, this is weird for me, but I'm gonna fix up and try and give you guys my best commentary, okay? Because I've got some thoughts and some feelings. And also I said on Twitter I was going to let you guys know my true and honest feelings on this, because I feel like there's some people in this community who are going to be so ready to speak their part who should really shut the fuck up. And I'm going to be speaking to them motherfucking directly. So if you're ready for the shade, then you've come to the right place. Right, okay, so if you don't know what's happened thus far, just to get you guys up to date so that we're in the loop before we even start this video. This video is about Spankie Valentine. So Spankie Valentine, she is a YouTuber who's been on the platform for years and years and years. She has some of the best content on YouTube. I would say that her content at times, not all the time, but at times can be somewhat comparable to Casey Neistat, like a female Casey Neistat. And I like her content. She's not my favorite content creator, I'm gonna just throw that out there, but she's really good, and I feel like she's definitely slept on within the YouTube community. Like a lot of people need to be turned on to what it is that she's doing. But she publicly came out on social media a few months back and basically said that there was an influencer friend of hers who was, you know, not that great. She decided to disassociate, and a lot of people kind of thought that it was GLAM and GORE, because it was obvious that they weren't speaking to each other on social media anymore when they had made such a public frenzy about their friendship. Well, that's all over now, honey. So now what's happening is Spankie has decided to make a video, but it is like a tell-all, if you will, just if you want to see somebody red for filth and drag for filth, Jesus, the tea was overflowing. So I'm going to play an ad for you guys. I know, I'm sorry, I get it, I know, but we got to keep the lights on over here, sis. So I'm going to play an advert for you guys. Whilst I'm playing this advert, if you want to go, grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a drink before we get started. The ad is 1.5 minutes long. If you want to go and do that, then go do that and come straight back, okay? Love you guys forever and ever.
Today's live stream is sponsored by Juvia's Place. Juvia's Place is an inclusive brand that brings black people to the center of the beauty circle. From their I Am Magic complexion collection and the irresistibly silky nude lip collection, they have women like me in mind. For so long, it was so hard for me to find a foundation that matched, and at one point I had literally become my own chemist, mixing colors that I thought would work. But with the I Am Magic complexion collection, I now have variation, even in the colder weathers like autumn in the UK, which it is right now, where my seasonal skin color change comes into play. The Juvia's Place nude lip collection is actually one of the first nude lip collections that I've ever had, where almost every lip color kind of worked for me. And even if it didn't work for me, I could just like slap on some brown lip liner and I was away to go, which is very, very rare for a woman of my dark complexion. Anyway, if you are interested in anything from Juvia's Place, I now have a code. It's not an affiliate code, but you are free to use it. So you can use code PETTY, that's P-E-T-T-Y, at checkout for 10% off. That is code PETTY, P-E-T-T-Y, at checkout for 10% off. And hey, whilst you're there, Juvia's Place also actually currently have a sale. It's the Friends and Family sale. So check out what they have in the sale right now. Maybe there's something for you. I know that their palettes are like my holy grail, so check it out. With that being said, thank you so much to Juvia's Place for sponsoring today's live stream, and thank you for your continued support as always. Let's get straight back into what mess is coming out of my mouth. Oh my god. Today's live stream is sponsored by Juvia's Place. Juvia's Place
we're
is
back,
an
we're back,
inclusive
we're back.
brand.
Thank you so much, Juvia's Place, for sponsoring all of my friggin' content. I really do appreciate it because YouTube doesn't like me right now. Okay, so with that being said, let's get straight into Spankie's video. I've got it up over here. We're going to watch it together and I'm going to give my commentary. I've got a lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings, a lot of opinions. So hopefully you guys can vibe with it. Let's get straight into it. Okay. Right, let me know if there's any audio issues. This is my first time doing this on YouTube, so if there's any audio issues, please let me know.
Thank you for judging me.
Okay, best friend.
You know, Mikey, I just want to wish you nothing but happiness.
Why are you here?
I must ask you a question.
I just want to say, friend, you're awesome.
All right, I love you.
This is really difficult.
Can I just say before we even start, I love a video that's like somebody either like dragging somebody or about to like say something that's controversial on YouTube with the sigh. I love the sigh.
And I realize that this is not like any video that you guys are used to here. I certainly didn't think I'd ever be making something like this, and I know that that's what everyone says, but I know that we have built this family as a place where we can be very open, very honest, have difficult conversations, but lately I've felt like I can no longer be authentic with you guys if I don't get this out. It's just been weighing so heavily on me. Like, I've literally been hardly uploading because I've just been feeling so stuck with this, so I need to share this. Okay, I am going to tell you guys why I am no longer friends with Mikey, who you may know of as GLAM and GORE, and why I no longer follow her and why I can't support her. Just so you know, this deals with racism.
The video is loud and you're quiet. One sec, I think the video might be a little too loud. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Let's bring that down just a tad.
With prejudice against the LGBTQ+ community, gaslighting, narcissism, and using people like James Charles and Jeffree Star and Gabby. I'm going to break this down into 3 parts. So the first part will cover when we met and early problematic behavior. The second part, which gets much worse, will cover what I witnessed of her trashing and using James Charles and Jeffree Star, microaggressions towards the LGBTQ+ community, and racist behavior. And the third part, which disturbs me the most, will bring us to the moment that pushed me over the edge, which is the reason why I'm making this video. Now, this is very scary. It's very scary. I realize that she has a lot of power. Like, she has way bigger platforms across all social media than I do, and she has very powerful friends and a support system, and really here, it's just me. It's just me here, and that scares me. So I'm gonna show you guys text messages, like receipts, whatever you wanna call them, even if it makes me look bad. But given the movement now, I realize that I have a responsibility to speak up so that hopefully anyone like me, like minorities, who might feel afraid, don't have to hide who they are and how they feel. Now, I do wanna make it clear that this is my truth. This is based on my experiences. I'm just calling for accountability on things that are harmful to our communities. Now, there's a lot to unpack, so I'm sorry if I'm talking really fast. I might get a little heated. I have literally filmed this so many times. I know a lot of people say that in these situations, and now I really understand it because I did not think that I was gonna be one of these people, but here I am. If I'm being real, like, this shit is fucked up. Now, I am going to talk often about racism and the microaggressions that attack and manipulate and take away our voice, meaning the Black community, people of color, and just minorities in general. To give you guys examples of what microaggressions are, there's this really great illustration of this iceberg, where at the top you see the obvious, like hate crimes, the N-word, blackface, but it's the stuff underneath the surface that actually make up most of systemic racism. And these are things like weaponizing white privilege, cultural appropriation, tone policing, the virtuous victim, saying things like, but what about me? And this stuff often goes unchecked, which is why racism is so alive and well. There were so many incidences of this type of behavior with her over the years, and it's just not right. So we were friends for a few years, and we supported each other personally and professionally as YouTubers. I appeared on 5 videos on her channel because she asked, and she appeared on 5 videos on mine.
What do you call a lonely cheese?
Provolone.
What's Beethoven's favorite fruit?
And she had me in a video on her channel telling a bit about what happened to me on YouTube, which gave me a launch pad for starting over here, which I was very thankful for. I mean, I literally created entire films devoted to saying thank you to her. As like this crazy, this fun way to say thank you to Mikey and all the zombies for helping me jumpstart my channel. He's getting a little sappy. Well, but
okay, so what we can see here so far, just so people who are just joining in, who aren't in the know, is basically she's talking about their friendship, how they've been friends for years, yada yada yada, and basically just setting you guys up for what is going to be possibly one of the weirdest falls that's happened on YouTube for quite some time.
I just really want to say how thankful I am, you know? I'm pretty sure she gets it. Now, I'll be real, and you guys know that I make vlogs, and I sometimes create videos involving people in my life. And I once made a prank video surprising her. Okay, best friend.
Yeah, not.
I can't. And at the time, she said she loved it, but later she said she was upset that I made a video centered around surprise filming.
Oh, one sec. Hold up. So she said, but there's a big difference between making content specifically using me / Ripley and just making a video that could do that could have to do with absolutely anything and not involve me getting off a plane and having a camera in my face. So basically she was saying that she was upset that there was a camera shoved in her face, which, to be fair, I can understand 100%.
Surprise filming her and her dog when I was house sitting for her, or that I planned a story around her reacting to some photos on camera. But I can understand how vlogging or surprises can be bothersome to some people, and so I apologized. And I actually told her that I would never ask her if she wanted to be on my channel again, because I would never want her or anyone feeling pressured to be on my channel or like used in the slightest. That's just not my intention.
Alright, I love you. Bye.
Now, as our friendship went on, I started to see her push microaggressions on people, and you'd often feel like you have to like tiptoe or walk on eggshells with whatever you say or do around her. She'd also asked me to lie about things that she was doing and to cover for her. It was usually to this one guy in particular that she was dating, and I just kind of started hanging out less and less so that I wouldn't be put in those situations because the lying was just shady. Another thing that bothered me was how—
One sec, can you guys not hear me that well? Hold up. Let me see. People are saying I'm not that loud. Hold on. Is it this one? It might be this one. Okay. Is that any better? I feel like this is better. Is this better? Or do I just need to get closer? Not very well now. Oh my goodness. Okay. My mic is here. Is this better? It's very close to me now. But I have to be over here. One sec. Let me move my screen. Hold up. Let me move my mic. Right. Is this any better?
Can y'all hear me now? Is this good? Yes, right. Okay, the mic is literally in my face now, so you should be able to hear me. Okay, apologies. Let's continue.
So much shit she was saying about other YouTubers behind their backs, mainly James Charles and Jeffree Star and Gabby Hanna, while publicly fronting like she was their friend and using them for clout and getting on their channels. Like, she would trash James so often in text and in person that sometimes it pulled me into the toxicity, where there were a couple of times that I called out where I thought he may have copied someone. So you know what, James, I'm sorry. I didn't need to do that. So I'm going to be sharing a bunch of text messages that she sent about James Charles and Jeffree Star throughout this video, but I think it's important to first get some context with the early problematic behavior because—
Oh, bitch, we have a timeline. And can I just say I live for a good timeline, honey? We have a timeline, bitch. So let me turn this camera over here. Can you see me now? Oh, what's that? Maybe here. That's better. Okay.
seeing the ongoing history of this is important, and I wish I was exaggerating, but like I could take this all the way back to the first time that we met, which was on this travel brand trip. And if you guys want to see how like the layers of systemic racism has played a part in the beauty community, I had asked the brand if I could bring a friend with me, even if I paid for the flight, and they told me no, that I couldn't have any guests. So imagine my surprise when I arrive and I see several white influencers, Mikey being one of them.
Basically, just can I point out that Nikita Dragon was here before the conversation that they're going to have at a table is going to happen. Nikita Dragon was there, and I bet you any money Nikita Dragon was part of this fucking conversation.
Who had their boyfriends, their husbands, their friends there, but I was not allowed to have a single guest. So a few of us decide to go to dinner. So it's me and then Mikey and her white boyfriend and then this other white influencer and her white husband. So it's 4 white people and then me, the black girl. Now, fun fact, the other white influencer had been called out for using the N-word and other racial slurs in public, so yay. But the conversation switched to cultural appropriation in that Mikey and this influencer had repeatedly been called out for cultural appropriation. Like, sidebar, like if you are repeatedly
That was Nikita.
being called out for cultural
Definitely Nikita.
appropriation, you might be doing something wrong. But they were both very annoyed that people were bringing it up. And it wasn't like they had empathy and trying to learn about it. They were just defensive and so annoyed. Why do people keep talking about cultural appropriation? And saying that these people of color who were trying to educate them about it didn't know what they were talking about, and that cultural appropriation isn't racist. I don't know who needs to hear this, but cultural appropriation is culturally insensitive at best, and also on that whole list of microaggressive racism. She even tweeted a lot about claiming to be the victim of racism while dragging women of color. Like, there are so many of them, I'm not even gonna bother reading them all.
A sec. I'm gonna bother reading those.
And also on that whole list of microaggressive racism. Color. Like, there are so many of them, I'm not even gonna bother reading them all.
Oh, I missed it. Hold on.
And tweeted a
We are gonna get it.
Get it, but here we go. Racism and tweeted a lot.
Oh god, here we are.
Get it, but here we go. Racism. Why after 400 years? Sensitive at best, and also on that whole list of microaggressive
We're gonna get it, 'cause I wanna
racism.
read these.
She even tweeted a lot about claiming to be the victim of racism while dragging women of color. Like, there are so many of them, I'm not even gonna bother reading.
Okay, so we have, there are two, but only recent ones get hate comments because this wasn't so popular to get offended a year ago. Because there's only racism, which can happen to any race at any time. She said, must be drinking the everything is racist Kool-Aid. People think cultural appropriation equals racist nowadays, it seems. She said, someone just tweeted, you can be rude to white people, but you can't be racist. She tweeted, sorry to be blunt, but racism isn't a dick measuring contest. You're saying whites can't experience it. I'm telling you that I have. She said, it's nuts. The definition of it is not a one-way street. Thinking of someone poorly because of skin color, not specified, equals racism. I've had several women of color tell me that they don't want me to help them at MAP because I'm white and I can't help them.
Reading them all.
There's just so many. I'm not going to be able to capture that. I'm sorry.
I don't know why after 400 years some people still don't get it, but here we go. Racism equals power plus prejudice. Take 2 seconds to research and you'll learn that the idea of race was invented by white people in the 17th, 18th century to justify the forcible enslavement of African people by separating and saying white people are more valuable and more human than black people. Like it was written in the Constitution that we're 3/5 a human. By categorizing us by race, white people invented a system of power, a system that you, Mikey, have benefited from your entire life. So no, you are not the victim here. Now, can you experience prejudice? Sure. Discrimination? But racism? I'm sorry, you're gonna have to sit this one out. Now, on Twitter, when Black and people of color were trying to educate her about racism and microaggressions, she would argue with them, saying things like, people think cultural appropriation equals racist nowadays. It is. And when people tried to nicely educate her about how she had appropriated their culture, she belittled it by saying this wasn't so popular to get offended by a year ago. This is like when people say things like, oh, everyone is just so offended by racism now. Like it's just a trend to be offended by cultural appropriation. Why can't we just go back to the good old days? That privileged viewpoint must be nice, but like this is not a trend for us. This is
it's like been a thing. It's like always been a thing, just so you guys know. It's always been a fucking thing. It's never changed. It's just that people's outlook has changed for the positive, for the better. Like right now people are a little bit more culturally sensitive, but it's always been a fucking thing.
Has always been a problem. Or like, must be drinking the everything's racist Kool-Aid. And it's crazy looking back at this now and seeing like how often she would diminish me and my experiences of racism in the same way. But I came across this tweet where she dragged women of color, and honestly, it disgusted me. Where she said, I have had several women of color tell me they don't want me to help them at MAC because I'm white and can't help them. You're saying whites can't experience it, I'm saying I have. Number one, if your definition of racism is that a woman of color said you can't help her over some makeup, then I don't know what to tell you. But number two, calling out and dragging women of color, saying that they are racist against you, like I don't think she's ever stopped to realize, and it is a privilege not to have to realize what makes up those situations. I cannot tell you the number of times I've gone to a makeup store or any store, looked around and saw, oh joy, they didn't hire one single person of color. This has been society's way of telling us not that we can't help you, but that we won't help you. So when a woman of color walks into a store and sees no representation, she's once again being told, we don't care about you. But instead of maybe empathizing with that, you take publicly to Twitter to accuse women of color of being racist against you? Like, it's not always about you, Karen.
The fact she called her Karen though. Right, here's an example of this. So yesterday, I went over, not yesterday, the day before, I went into town, right? I was gonna go get my Benefit brow stuff, you know how I do. Get the little swoop and all that kind of stuff. I went to go and get my brow stuff because I'd ran out. Now, I saw that Benefit had the brow micro filling pen, which is this thing here. How cute is that? Beautiful, right? Don't watch your nail, okay? I lost my nail. But yeah, so I was like, oh, you know, do you guys have this in a black color? Because my eyebrows are black. And she goes, oh, bearing in mind it's a white consultant who was on the table. She was like, oh, yeah, no, it's fine. It'll be fine for you. And I was like, are you sure? I said, have you got a tester so I can try it out? She goes, oh, due to coronavirus, which is obviously completely fair, we can't give you testers at the moment. I was like, makes sense. Okay, yeah. I was like, I'm just a bit apprehensive to buy it because I'm dark toned, you know, and I'm worried that if I put this on my eyebrows, like it's not gonna show up. She goes, I promise you, it is so super dark, it's definitely gonna show up. So guess what? A bitch like me brings it home. Can y'all see this? Barely. It blends in with my freckles. Barely. Barely. I can't use this on my eyebrows. This was a waste of 30 fucking pounds.
I can't use that on my eyebrows, but this is exactly why it's so important, especially within the beauty industry, for black people to have representation within the stores. As you are actively looking for beauty consultants to stand at desks and to advise people and to be salespeople, you should be actively looking for all different shades and all different complexions, especially to fit the designated demographic of where you live. For instance, I can understand y'all not hiring that many black people to be consultants at a benefit brow desk or whatever. If you lived in a place that didn't have that many black people, I can understand that to a certain degree. But what I can't fathom is going into massive city centres, you know, like Manchester, Leeds, all that kind of stuff, and going into a store and still not being able to see a black person, still not being able to see somebody who is my complexion or even close or even understands, you know, different complexions like this, being able to advise me on what's best for me. I have to navigate that whole entire world myself, and this is what we're talking about. This is exactly what she's talking about.
Don't villainize women of color to make yourself the victim of something you don't understand and benefit from. And like, I'm not arguing if she's ever felt discrimination, like we all have, but this isn't like being picked last on the makeup team. Like, you don't have to think about your color every single day of your life like we do. Like, I want to ask her, like, have you ever been told to bleach your N-word skin or dye because you're just trying to be white but you'll never measure up? Because I have. Have you been told by brands not to wear your hair natural because it looks ghetto and they won't hire you? Because I have. Have you been told to take your monkey looking ass back to Africa? Because I have. I've sent you those screen grabs, but you continually ignore that. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if she like...
Okay, so just to bring this into perspective once again, because I am a person who loves receipts. So I tweeted out earlier... I hope I'm on the right Twitter. Yeah, I am. Okay, so I tweeted out a little bit earlier. Let me go onto my profile. I tweeted, hi black influencers, do you ever go a day without receiving racial abuse on the internet via comments, direct messages or emails? Because I don't. Spankie V spoke to me and thank you. And it's because every single day, when I tell people that I receive racist comments every single day, like, it is literally absurd. If I had to compile the amount of evidence of people speaking so rude and derogatory just simply based on my race, it's astronomical. It's out of this fucking world. So a part of me is just kind of like, if you don't have to suffer that, then you're not going to understand. So then I asked people, and I retweeted two of them. One of them is from Saya, who says, I closed my DMs a while ago because I'm just subjecting myself to the kill yourself monkey nigger type DMs. And then we have another one from Charlie Gold, who said, I learned very early on to filter out words in my comment section on my channel because of this exact reason. And these are two black women of color who can vouch for the fact that they are constantly receiving racism every day. Charlie Gold at this present moment, regardless of what other people's thoughts are on Charlie Gold, I don't give a shit what you think about her. Not my problem. That's your opinion. Your opinion doesn't have to reflect mine, right? But the thing is that Charlie Gold is receiving racist abuse, and people are being silent about it. People aren't saying nothing about it, and it's pissing me off. And there are even people within her own community who will go in quiet and say, oh girl, I'm here for you, and but won't use their allyship to be vocal about it. And this is exactly what I wanted to address today. The people who stay silent behind the scenes, in front of social media, but behind the scenes want to be like, oh God, this is horrible. I can't believe they said this. This is Why aren't y'all being active allies? It is so fucking important for us to have active allies within the community. Be active. Be active. If you see racial injustice going on, period, regardless of who it is, regardless of what the circumstance, regardless of what that person said, it doesn't matter. It's wrong. So if it's wrong, use your allyship, use your privilege to speak on it. Because what I'm seeing a lot of, and this is even within my own fucking circles, is a lot of fucking people staying silent when it fucking suits them. And I know for a fact that because of this video, because of how much tea this video has, there's going to be a bunch of white influencers who are going to step onto their platform to virtue signal and say, I understand Swoop because of this, and because it's going to make them look good. I don't want y'all to use this as a moment to look good, because if you have not been an active ally, I want you to stay silent, to shut the fuck up. If you've not been an active ally, as in an active ally to people of color, shut up. I don't want your voice. Yeah, we don't need your voice. Shut up.
okay? Sorry. This shit really pissed me off.
Like so many others, just deletes these tweets and pretends like this never happened. And I know some people are gonna say, but it was in the past. It was a different time then. And so I ask you, different to who? Seriously, different to who? Because it wasn't different to me. It wasn't different to minorities. We have been saying since the dawn of time that this stuff hurts us. This is what perpetuates systemic racism. Just because some people got away with this then, some people building their careers around it, doesn't make this right. If it's not okay to tweet it now, it wasn't okay to tweet it then. I hope you see how troubling this is, and she's posted lots of other problematic stuff. Like she made a bruised, beat up face tutorial and called it the Rihanna inspired makeup tutorial.
Can we just remind ourselves of what she just said right here, which is the Rihanna inspired makeup tutorial, which was a beaten, bruised and bloodied face. Then we're going to have a look at somebody who also was a minority but was of a lighter kin, and how that situation got treated completely differently to a black woman in that exact same predicament. Can y'all see? All right.
Rihanna, who was violently beat up in the face. Mikey made that a makeup tutorial. And to make it worse, in the video, she said something to the effect of, LOL, you're hot. I'd hit that. I don't understand making jokes about an abused, battered woman. I don't understand making jokes about a black, battered woman. Domestic violence is not something you joke about for a makeup tutorial and then are profiting from it. And because that went unchecked, she made another video profiting off of someone's abuse where you guys remember.
Okay, just to warn you, it says trigger warning graphic content, right? But just to let you guys know also, she's going to be speaking of somebody who is also a minority but of a lighter kid, and how this, you have to remember that the Rihanna situation, nobody called her out for this. This is the first time this is happening right now. The first time that people are actually calling out Mikey over that tutorial, right? And now the absolute fanfare that happens to another ethnic minority, but an ethnic minority that is of a lighter kin.
Remember the American Airlines incident where an Asian man was brutally beat up by authorities and dragged off the flight? She decided to turn his beat up, bloody face into a makeup tutorial, and then she somehow called it a satire. That would—
What? Imagine.
be like making a makeup tutorial of George Floyd, or someone not only exploiting their trauma, but turning ads on and profiting from it, and then calling it a satire. Now, she was dragged by media for doing this and finally had to apologize, but to me her apology was full of microaggressions and tone policing with this calm criticism remarks, as if people aren't allowed to be angry about this. But the only reason that I even know this video exists is because all this time later, after the apology, when I was hanging out with her, she brought it up and she was still defending it and so annoyed that she had to apologize, which tells me again she has not changed. And like, I know how upset Mikey would get about her own slip and fall head injury anytime she thought one of her subscribers was diminishing what she went through. So to make videos where you're capitalizing off of someone else's head trauma, turning ads and profiting off of it, is wrong. And to bring it up all this time later, still annoyed that she got called out, is wrong. Now, this clearly has been a pattern with her for years, like even before I met her, where she plays the victim and hurts minorities. Later, after we became friends, she did the same to me and to the LGBTQ+ community many times when I came to her depressed over how I was treated as a black woman, and her response just made it all the more devastating. And I can see that I was just so gaslit in these conversations, and that's what makes these microaggressions so dangerous to our communities. So just to give you guys a little bit of context, I was reaching out to her in a lot of pain. I had relapsed into some major depression. This was about 3 months or so after I had started my new channel, and I was working insane amounts of hours. So I was coming to her feeling—
One sec, Kirsten Ramsey, is it Kristen? Kristen Ramsey, run that again. Run that one more time. Posting Black Lives Matter does not make you an ally. One more time for the people in the back. Posting Black Lives Matter, posting about Black Lives Matter, doing things for the cause does not make you an ally. You have to be active in your approach every single fucking day to be an ally. Run that one more time, bitch.
Very broken, and this is what I said. Sorry, hardcore lapsed back into my shitty depression yesterday and took some stuff that knocked me out. Most of my life has been spent convinced of how shitty and worthless I am. Last 2 years summed up, crying or throwing up on a floor somewhere. Yesterday triggered, realized how monstrously unimproved I am. Now, she did say some supportive, encouraging things, which I really appreciated, but the conversation went on and I started to open up again about my color as I had tried to do in previous conversations. I said, I don't know how to explain it in words. I guess to some sort of extent it's being on the level of your successful peers, which I, for whatever reason, am not, but that's just part of it. And I went through a lot of pain on my old channel. I have been called the N-word more times than I can count. People have threatened to kill me, that they want to lynch me, that I should bleach my skin so I appear more white, or that I should tan so that I look more obviously black, and a lot of that stuff was popping up. Sorry, on my new channel. These were things that I shared with her.
You're an N-word. Just put heavy makeup on your black face. Remove those makeups, then make a video with relevant stuff.
I had even sent her.
The closer you are to coma, the better. And you know this isn't 2015 anymore, right? Hashtags are for N-words like you.
Some screen caps of this type of stuff, and so she knew this stuff very well. So I go on to say, like, I know how shitty the hand is being a minority female, how this industry is classically set up to only allow a few minorities at the top of their game, and so it's general bullshit, I'm sorry, like that to cut through somehow. But sometimes I'm at a loss.
And this is one thing, yeah, that I have to bring up, is that when you are a black influencer on this platform, right, and this is me, can I just say, I'm not speaking for all black people, right? I feel like, I don't know why I disclaim this, but I should, because people are like, she don't speak for me. Fine, I don't speak for you. You can go about your business, right? But what I will say is, being a black person, being an influencer, being on this platform, right, and the amount of racism that we have to suffer on a day-to-day basis is fucking sane. Like, literally, I could take you into my spam comments, which is why I don't filter my spam comments. I don't go through them, because it is just nigga, 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 coon, bitch, nigga, nigga, coon, coon, nigga, nigga, coon, bitch. It is just disgusting. So I don't go in there. I don't go in there. I don't open that door. What for? Because it doesn't matter how successful you are. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how, you know, fulfilled you are in life, in your career, whatever it is that makes you happy. Regardless of anything, that one thing that people can do to tear you back down to absolutely nothing, to less than human, is that you're a nigger. You can be a lot of things, but it's a completely different way, a completely different thing to navigate this world as a nigger. Completely different to navigate this world as a nigger. Period. And it pisses me off, because it hurts. Like, it hurts. Like, you ain't shit, you ain't never gonna be shit. Oh, what's that? What? My audio's gone? Oh, okay, hold up. Can y'all hear me? The audio, oh, for fuck's sake. Is my audio better here? Is my audio better here? Yes. I know what that is. I don't think it likes me going to my face. That's fine. We'll stay here forever. If this is where I've got to be, bitch, then this is where I've got to be. Okay? Okay. Let's get straight back into the video, bitch. I can't. I don't want to fuck this setup up. We're working, okay? We're working.
And I'm doing a shitty job of putting words to what's in my heart.
Can I just tell you, I was going off. I was like giving y'all a speech for the gods. It's mad. It's mad y'all missed that. That was good. That was good. I'm going to pat myself on the back, bitch. That was a good speech.
Meaning that I was at a loss to try to figure out how, I don't know how to cut through this bullshit because of my color. I don't know what to do. I said, I don't know, man. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be emotional about this. I don't want it to be about that. I didn't want yet another thing that I do, yet another channel to somehow be about my color and have that held against me. Okay, I'm gonna take a pause and then.
So bearing in mind, she is a filmmaker. She is a writer. She's a director. There are loads of different titles that you can give this young lady. And regardless of all of it, regardless of whatever situation, regardless of her talent, regardless of the amount that she works, regardless of everything, she'll always be that N-word, period. And that sucks. So I feel for her a lot.
I'm sorry. I don't want to get emotional, but this stuff is real. It's beyond YouTube. This stuff affects us in every day of our lives simply for the color of our skin. So knowing all of that and knowing the depressed state that I was in, she completely flips it on me. And she says this: "It's tough because from my perspective, I feel like you won't get handed shit right now on YouTube specifically unless you're a minority in some sense of the word, be it anything but white or part of the LGBT community."
What world does she live in? I would love to know what side of privilege that must feel like, because what world must you live in to think that minorities on this platform are being handed or given anything? Beauty Heathen, thank you so much for the super chat. We heard the speech, it was just in robot voice. Okay. Like, what? In what world? In what world is that even a thing? First of all, we all know that the LGBT community is being censored on YouTube, right? That is a huge thing that's happening, right? The LGBT, thank you so much, Misfit, for subscribing. The LGBT community on YouTube is being stifled. If you hashtag in the tags LGBT as part of your metadata, your video will be instantaneously put up for review. Even though YouTube like to promote coming out stories, they don't really fuck with gay people. Let's just call that what it is. They really don't. They don't want to promote them that much unless it is monetizable, unless it is, you know, going to make them a hell of a lot of money. In other ways, they just want to keep that voice silent. There are so many shadow banned LGBT channels that are giving really good discussions, topics, conversations, teaching younger people about LGBT love, you know? Something that isn't taught in schools. Where the hell are these kids going to find out if what they're feeling is okay, if they're living in a cisgender world, if they're living in a heterosexual world? They're not going to know that the way that they're feeling is okay without going on the internet and finding these kind of things. Do you get what I mean? These kind of videos make the world and life easier for LGBT people to navigate. So it's mad to me that she even thinks the LGBTQ community is getting anything, let alone black people. But the LGBT community is not thriving. It's not thriving right now. They're struggling. In fact, some of them have taken up a lawsuit to try and sue YouTube over shadow banning them and shadow banning their content. There was this whole thing that was happening in 2019. I don't know what's happening right now, if it's coming to fruition or whatever, but that's crazy. What world does she live in? What fucking world is she living in?
She literally, in essence, just told me that white people have it harder than minorities and the LGBTQ plus community, and that our successes are handouts of all things. Like, imagine a man telling a woman that she's likely only successful in business because it was handed to her, while knowing she's getting paid less and getting discriminated against because she's a woman. Messed up, right? I'm gonna keep reading because it unfortunately gets worse. So she says, but everyone else apparently YouTube has pushed in recent years after the era of the Tyler Oakleys and Joey Graceffas have been minority or not straight. To say that everyone else that YouTube pushes has been minority or not straight, we all know that that's a lie. It's a lie. That's just, there is nothing true about that statement.
I'm in the community and I can't say the acronym in my super chats. Bullshit. There we go.
I'm just saying, to be honest, it's tough for me to weigh in with practical advice there because from my own perspective, I feel the same thing from the opposite side. This is what gaslighting looks like. I don't know how tone deaf, how blind, how entitled someone has to be when a minority comes to them and says, this is so much harder for us, because that is fact. That is the reality that we live in. I don't know what kind of person flips it and says, no, 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 actually, it's much harder, it's much worse if you're white, because minorities, the LGBTQ plus community, that we're being handed our opportunities, implying that our success, if we ever manage to get it, must be because it was handed to us, not because we have worked for it. I came to her as a black woman, as a minority, and expressed a very real truth, and she completely flipped it around, made herself the victim of oppression. She instantaneously invalidated my experience and instantaneously took away my voice as a black woman, and apparently took away the voice of the LGBT community because I guess they're being handed everything as well. And just to point out the microaggressions here, because this is something that I hear, that we hear so often, and things like, not to say you don't face struggles, but this isn't one of them. We have been saying what these struggles are since the dawn of time, or, you know, the last 400 years. I'm gonna continue reading because, again, it still gets worse. I feel the same thing from the opposite side, where I look at two of the most controversial ever beauty gurus growing rapidly. She's talking about Jeffree Star and James Charles. These are the two that she talked about all the time. One of whom does content no better or more clever than my own and has less talent and does less of the work himself. She's talking about James Charles. And he still succeeds most likely because the difference is they're both gay men.
Okay, she needs to take the stigma of them being gay men and just them being men. Unfortunately, the only reason that I don't think it's because they're gay men. I think it's because they're men. Men thrive on this platform a hell of a lot more than women. It's just a given. Do you get what I mean? So it's not that it's because they're gay men. It's because they're men. You know? I don't think that has anything to do with anything. Being gay is neither here nor there in this discussion. Like, what the fuck is she going on? She's nuts.
It's hard for me to put into words just how up this is. Not only did she invalidate my experience as a minority woman, but then she also diminishes the LGBTQ plus community by implying that the only reason
Hope, as much as I appreciate your comment, she said later on, Spankie exposes some of Mikey's private life, which I feel is petty, but that's my only issue with the video. As much as I appreciate your comment, and I will agree that it is petty, considering that she has suffered to the level and degree of microaggressions at the hands of somebody that she considered her friend, I don't mind her being petty, not one single bit. Be petty. Petty on. Petty until the cows come home. I don't care about that. That was the most minimal, most minuscule part of this video. I don't care. Yeah, so she said a little something. She threw a little shade. She threw a little tea. Well, guess what? She's been throwing microaggressions for the past 5 years, guys. I'm sure that Mikey will be fine, okay? Ain't gonna be life-changing for Mikey. That's, once again, the level of privilege that we're talking about right now.
Reason why someone like James Charles, Jeffree Star are successful is because they have been handed their success because they're gay. That somehow she's also the victim of gay men being successful over her. She had collabs with both of these gay men. She appeared on both of these gay men's channels. She has not had these gay men on her channel. To even be belittling James's talent, his work ethic, his creativity, me 2 days before he posts a collab with her on his channel, and she was still trashing him. And all I can see from these conversations is that she harbors an extreme animosity for men who are gay, who are successful in the community, and apparently to minorities. Are we really going to strip away the voices and the experiences of minorities so that someone cis, straight, white can feel like a victim in a situation where they are not? The reality is, like, not everything is about you, Karen. It is not okay.
She keeps calling her Karen. I'm like, oh God.
To imply that we're just getting handouts, that we didn't earn our seat at the table like everyone else, that we didn't have to work harder to earn our seat at the table. If we want to talk about handouts, all we have to do is look at the trending page that is hand selected by YouTube, not based on views, and the vast majority of the time it's white creators. And who's been on trending over and over? Mikey has. So yay! Oftentimes you only see a minority on trending if it's music or sports, and that's because historically systemic racism has only allowed minorities to succeed if we're entertaining folks with music or sports. And I noticed that many times when she was on trending, she went to Twitter and was complaining about it, like incredibly ungrateful. So it's like she complained about not getting handouts, but when she got the handouts, she's complaining about getting them. And it's gross when you sit at the top to say that the reason for our success is because of handouts. From what I can see, that's not only prejudice, but looking a whole lot like that microaggressive racism. And it scares me, especially when people with huge influence do and say these types of things, because is this the type of narrative that you're feeding your audiences? Is this what you're encouraging them to think and feel about us? If she was willing to say these things to me in my pain behind closed doors, what more could you possibly be saying about those of us who aren't even your friends? And like, let me remind you once again, this is a conversation that started with me saying I'm in a very serious depression in relation to my color. So in that state of mind, I tried to push back a little bit and I said, I kind of wish, but the overwhelming majority of successful and largely pushed creators still are white. Still what's predominant on all media, authority, casting, and what's celebrated as beauty. Let's not forget the standard of beauty that has been set up in our society is what? It is white, blue eye, blonde hair. It is literally everything that Mikey is.
Honestly, like, we just have to sit here and stand Nikita Dragon for just bringing that black girl magic every opportunity she can. Okay, that was shady. I'm gonna stop. Brown skin girl. Okay, I'm gonna stop.
That's a great privilege. It must be fun, but that ain't me. And like, don't even get me started on that. Women who have a darker tone than I do have it even worse, if you can imagine what that must feel like. And after saying all of that, she responds with this. I think I meant... I'm sorry, she did mention this to me several times in the past. She says, I think I mentioned this, but Peter has heard from several actor friends of his that they're being turned down repeatedly for roles because they're essentially too white. That Hollywood is mostly only looking for ethnically ambiguous now. I'm sorry, it's hard for me to get through this because this is just...
The only place where ethnically ambiguous people are being championed right now is the music industry. That's the only place where I see people blackfishing, trying to creep in on the culture, and what is being highly promoted is ethnically ambiguous in music, and predominantly hip-hop, which in of itself is a form of quote-unquote whitewashing. So yeah, that's the only place that I really see that being championed, not in Hollywood. I mean, all you have to do is look at the Oscars and see what race predominantly fills up that fucking room. White people.
Wow. She repeatedly liked to feed me this lie that Hollywood is apparently only hiring minorities and that white people can't get jobs in Hollywood. I don't know if she's saying we're taking their jobs. So I decided, since this was brought up in so many conversations, that it was time to have a read. So I'm gonna go ahead and look up...
I love how she put her glasses on for this. Like, yes, bitch.
The Hollywood Diversity Report. Now, the most laughable thing about this is that it breaks it down into two categories: white and everything else. So here are a couple of breakdowns when it comes to movies. So for film leads, meaning the lead actors in a film role, 20% of them are minorities, so you get to fight amongst that yourselves, minorities, while 80% are white. If we talk about film directors, the ones in charge of the films, 12% are minorities, meaning 88% are white. And when we talk about film writers, the ones who are writing all of the stories that we go and ingest, 8% of them are minorities, meaning 92% of all film writers are white. It's funny that you bring up the Hollywood stats, because those are the actual stats that are going on here. Again, I know that I've said this before, but I can't believe, looking back at this, that this was a conversation that I was having during a time when I came to her because I was depressed over this. I tried to push back a little bit again, and I said, yeah, like I said, there's a small inclusivity trend, but it's nowhere near balance.
Yeah.
And she pushes again at me and says, but my point is, it looks to me like the opportunities are here now more than ever for someone mixed. Which I guess now we're bringing in the mix. Okay. When people say things like, oh, but from my perspective, to me, then there are so many more opportunities for you now, then let me ask you this. Would you willingly become black?
Answer that question, guys, quickly. If y'all had to face the adversities of black people, would you be black? It's okay, I got time. Do you think this world is easy to navigate for black people? If so, if they're being handed everything, be black. Nikita is. I gotta stop with that, man. Okay, there we go. And if that doesn't show you where it lies, then I don't know what will. There you go. Everybody in this chat is saying no. And that's the truth. That's the truth. And that is systematic. Do we say systematic in the UK or do we say systemic? But that's systemic relationships. God, I'm done.
Are you willing to be treated the way black people, the way minorities are treated? Would you like to be treated the way a gay man is treated?
No, absolutely not. And I'm bi, but no, I would definitely not want to be treated like a gay man. Absolutely not. Nope.
I'm gonna guess the answer is no, and you know why. So when I saw that she wasn't gonna stop microaggressively pushing against the truth about, you know, racism and prejudice, I did what minorities are taught, and that's to diffuse the situation. And once I did, she did as expected with gaslighting and said some really nice things and quoted
It's honestly so astonishing to me. I think about it all the time that Martin Luther King Jr. literally boiled it down to the exact same thing that should be, what, 60 years ago at this point? Content of character over everything else. The fact that we still do not get that is fucking mind-blowing. That she said, oh man, I can so suck on that. Then she said, the fact is it even had to be spelled out is mind-blowing. But to add on, we just don't fucking get it.
Martin Luther King Jr. out of context to make it look like she's still on my side, even though she's trying to make herself the victim of our oppression. And like, that's how gaslighting works. Like, they start like they're on your side and then flip it to distort your reality and then finish like they're still on your side. The best analogy that I can give, although extreme, is that of the abusive boyfriend, where he starts off really nice, flowers and candy, but then he flips it on you, he abuses you. But then suddenly he's nice to you again with flowers and I'm sorry, you made me do this, but I'm sorry. And so you don't know what to believe anymore. Maybe this was my fault. maybe I was wrong. It's like her privilege is a knife and she's unaware of it because it is a privilege to have privilege that you can then act oblivious to it. But she's walking around and flinging this knife, half paying attention.
Yeah, mods, can we get rid of Leela, please? Thank you. I'm not having somebody do that. Not in chat, not tonight.
While all of us minorities are like ducking and dodging so that we don't get sliced up by her carelessness. You can't end by saying we're all the same, Martin Luther King, when you just got through saying that we're getting handouts and taking your jobs. These microaggressions are the foundation of systemic racism. Like, imagine a white girl gaslighting a black girl about racism. And this wasn't an isolated incident, and while a lot of these conversations happened in person, like, here was another early warning sign that happened before that last one, where I said, I don't know what it is, but lately I've been feeling so damn aware of my color, of just how opposite the blonde hair, blue eye, white girl standard of beauty I am, making me feel second rate. And I got the same exact pattern where she makes it about her as if she's the one suffering because of racism. And she says, if it makes you feel better, I actually feel the opposite / same because I'm so generic white girl and people seem to be really interested in anything but that the past few years. Like, you do realize that when you tell a black or a person of color that you feel the exact opposite / same as them, you're negating and invalidating the truth about racism. Like, you can't have it both ways.
And that is exactly the reason why I had to get rid of Leela right now, just in case anybody wants to know. People who go, oh, well, I'm this, and oh, I feel the same because of this, it's not the same. I don't know how to break it down to you. I don't know what kind of denomination I have to do to break it down to people that it's not the same. It's not the same. You can't pull out whatever card it is that you want to pull out to say, oh, it's the same. It's not. Historically, period, there has been nobody as grossly treated to the same, and I mean amount of fucking human beings as black people, period. And it's systemic, and it's still happening right now. So we're not going to sit there and try and invalidate somebody else or speak about overspeak people within the community, overspeak them in order to make your story known because you understand somewhat. You can empathize. I can be with somebody who says, you know what, I empathize with this because in my experience this has happened. But don't overspeak people because that's disrespectful, and definitely don't overspeak black people. It's just not happening. Not on my channel.
But I have to defend, and I say, I guess I've just been far more acutely aware of how I'm often treated different when in a group of fair-toned people. Like, people still default to, I'ma talk hood around this chick, because that must be what she likes. And she pushes, again, by saying, my point is mainly that we kinda just see what makes us feel inadequate. My color does not make me inadequate. Inadequate. Everyone else treats us like we're inadequate because of our color. And yet again, she brings up Hollywood, saying that white actors can't get jobs because apparently we're taking all of the jobs. But again, she finished by saying some really nice things. She left me feeling confused if my feelings about racism were even real, which is crazy. Like, we know this is the truth. But when I realized that it happened here, and then it happened again and again, and it got worse and worse, I realized that this is a pattern. If you want an example of how insidious this mindset is and can covertly creep into what they do publicly, there were so many times she got mad thinking that James Charles or another creator maybe sorta copied her video ideas without giving her credit. But what about the time when she did the exact same video as a black gay beauty boy who's literally the embodiment of everything she belittles with these handout comments and refused to give him credit even when she was called out for it? I'm talking about when Kenneth Senegal uploaded doing our makeup on a treadmill. He was the only creator to have done this, and 1 month later she posts the exact same video without crediting him. Now, some people noticed, so he asked very nicely on Twitter, like, what's up? And she replies with passive-aggressive shade by saying, baby, you don't follow me. Like, why would he follow someone who copied him? But if you did, you'd realize I'm the first to give credit where credit is due. I mean, the irony of shading him when, from what he can tell, you don't credit people. So he replies, yeah, I don't follow you. Your work is sickening though, so he gives her compliments. Just a huge coincidence. Usually people do their research, keep shining, and he drops it. Her reply was shitty enough, but she dragged me into it out of nowhere by sending me a screenshot and saying, who is this dude and why is he so rude? So I said, he's a beauty boy, he's always been really nice, it looks like he felt burned by you but then pulled back. And she argued with me by saying, I don't think he pulled back at all. His response is riddled with shade, like he's still mad.
Right, I don't understand this, but this seems to be, this is like one long, like that in of itself was a microaggression. He said, no, I don't follow you, but your work's sickening. You know, usually people do their research. Because even if it was a mad coincidence that she did exactly the same video as Kenneth, it wouldn't have hurt her to say this was done prior before me. It's just been brought to my attention. Go and check out Kenneth's video. It would have taken her 2 seconds to go into a video description and do that. It would have been an easy correct. So why? Why so much like, I'm not going to do it, what was that about? And then to top that off, it seems like he's still mad, like he's still angry. Like the angry black person thing over and over fucking again. And it's just, it's infuriating that constantly, no matter what situation, if we are upset about something, our upset or anger is diminished purely because we're aggressive, we're acting angry, you know? And it's like, when does that end? Do you get what I mean? It makes you feel like you have to handle things in a certain way. It's like if I'm having a dispute with somebody at work, say for instance, and I turn around and I say, well, you know, Sharon was extremely disrespectful to me. I asked her on 5 occasions, could you not do this? She didn't listen to me. So then unfortunately I had to take things into my own hands because I did speak to management. Management wasn't listening to me. They weren't validating my concerns at all. So I decided to take things into my own hands. And that's why I said or did what it was that I needed to say or do. I have to eloquently and concisely put my thoughts and opinions together of why I've been treated unfairly in a certain situation. Because if I come across as upset, angry, aggressive, all of those kind of things, then people can cancel me out just like that. She's angry, she's aggressive. Well, there's no need to be aggressive in this situation, Paige. Why are you being so angry? Why are you being so mean? And it's always constantly the same thing that we're constantly getting thrown at. Like, I'm sick to death of being the angry black woman. So sick to death of constantly being the angry black woman in all situations, in all arguments, in all narratives. And this is me. Right, I haven't fought a fight since I was in high school. Yeah, I beat some bitches up in high school for sure. But I've never been in a fight since then. Like, I don't do that kind of stuff. But do I get angry? Do I get upset? Do I get passionate? Of course. But this is stuff that black women face all the time. Angry, aggressive. If you state your opinion on the internet and you're a commentator, for instance, Charlie Gold can probably attain to this. If you state your opinion and you state it matter of fact, or you show your disdain towards something, you're aggressive. Stop being so angry. Stop being so mean. Stop being you.
I just, like, she was in the wrong here. She did his idea, intentional or not. And let me point this out, that still to this day, even when it was brought to her attention, she still has not gone back and credited him. And I wonder, why is that? Oh, wait, is it because he's black and gay and gets all the handouts so he doesn't deserve success in the beauty community? Is that why? And then she says that she usually researches to know if she needs to credit, but that she didn't for this one? Like, did you not feel like doing a little work to see that he's the only one who did this video? Or did you see that he's a smaller black gay beauty boy and think no one would notice? But what really pushed the microaggressions over the edge was that she came to me, her one black friend, and pitted me against another black creator when I have made it so clear that we have it so much harder. Imagine this black gay beauty boy with 300,000 subscribers at the time, seeing this cis, straight, white creator with 3 million doing his idea without crediting him and then shading him on Twitter. He's probably gonna feel some type of way about it because people steal from us.
But you know what's the worst thing? Even if he did feel some kind of way about it, he still didn't express that he felt some kind of way about it. Why? To avoid being the angry black guy, the aggressive black guy. You know, hold up, don't shoot Jamal. You know, that shit.
that shit. He didn't express his he didn't express his disdain, he didn't express his anger, because he was just like, you know what, I'ma let this slide, whatever. And do you know how sad it is to be so fucking downtrodden over and over and over again that you just constantly let shit slide? Constantly? And this is the reason why black people get that aggressive, angry next to their title. It's exactly this, because we're tired. We are tired. And I'm tired of fighting too. Like, I am dead ass tired of fighting too. And I've noticed, especially more recently, especially since the quote-unquote hype of the George Floyd situation has died down, that some of the people who are some of the most loudest people on the internet speaking about Black Lives Matter are dead ass silent right now, because it was performative activism, because they weren't real allies. Because in order to be an ally, you have to be active. You have to be consistently doing something to help promote change. And if you're not consistently doing something to help promote change, then essentially you're just a person who said some stuff on Twitter. That's what you did. You don't get a tick mark if you went to a march and you held your sign up. You don't get a tick mark for that either. You have to be active. You have to be constantly doing something. When you see racial injustice happening, you have to speak up about it. When you see people using microaggressions, even to its lowest form of microaggressions, right? If you see people using microaggressions to diminish a person of color, then what you have to do is say, hey, that's not okay. And if you are not actively, every single fucking time you see it doing it, then you're not an ally. You're just somebody who talks.
All the time. So do not pit me against another black creator when you're trying to make yourself the victim of a situation that you created. This is an example of weaponizing privilege, doing it publicly on Twitter to get her followers to back her, doing it privately to me and Kenneth, and putting me in a shitty position between defending a black creator and being a friend to her. You know what? Screw that. Subscribe to Kenneth. Now, I've got to talk.
Okay, can I just say a quick thank you to the mods as well? Thank you for holding this down this evening. I really appreciate it.
About something where it looks like she straight up lied to her audience and did something really gross with the Black Lives Matter movement.
Can I just say I saw a lot of influencers do this exact same thing, so let's get into it.
So a white influencer friend of hers tweeted this: I've lost hundreds of followers on Instagram every day in the past few days for being more vocal than usual, and it feels so good. So you guys know what virtue signaling is, right? It's where they're calling attention to how virtuous they are for a good cause to get your sympathy and praise. I mean, like, we've all seen the influencers who put on cute outfits and take fashion photos in front of protesters, or holding up a drill for 5 seconds to look like they're helping, or like posting how many followers they've lost for standing up for what's right. It's like the self-congratulating performance, the pat on the back. Oh, woe is me. Look at the loss I've taken.
We're gonna get into influencers who do that any moment, because I got some thoughts and some fucking feelings. Oh, a sec.
Cause. Please applaud me. Which is actually even worse here, because now they've made themselves a victim of the cause. So Mikey replied by one-upping her friend and tweeting, I wear mine now over 10,000 like a badge of honor. And I'll
Like a badge of honor, you know. Imagine thinking you get a cookie for talking about Black Lives Matter. Imagine thinking you get a cookie. Do you think you got a gold star, bitch? Congratulations. You don't believe that black people should be killed like animals. Wow, so profound.
I'll tell you in a minute why badge of honor is disgusting, but she really felt the need to sing her own praises during the movement, and she got—
I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. This shit here, can I just say that black pain, black suffering is super duper triggering to me, so I get very angry. So if y'all ain't here for the angry black woman this evening, you're probably best to click off, because I'm not happy right now. And the more I listen to this, the more and more upset I'm getting, and the more I just want to speak.
got tons of praise for it. But I guess the praise wasn't enough because days later she tweets again. This is the second week in a row that I've lost 12,000 followers on Instagram. That's 24,000 people on the wrong side of history that I'm happy to never interact with again. But according to the stats, this looks like a straight up lie. So there are sites like Social Blade and Ninjalytics that will show you how many followers someone gains or loses. And I saw that she's actually been gaining followers, like by the thousands. Like it was bigger gains than normal. So if she did lose 24,000, she also gained 24,000 and thousands on top of that according to the charts, but she didn't mention that part to her fans. And she got these gains using the trauma of the Black community, but then made herself a victim of this. Let me put it to you guys like this. This is like going to the casino and losing like $10,000. But you also win $30,000. So you're leaving the casino $20,000 richer. But you only post to your fans that I lost $10,000 so that you could play the victim. But like, it's a lie. It's a manipulation. And so it leaves me asking the question, like, why are you going out of your way to leave out this information unless it's to make your audience think that you're a victim, that you've taken a major loss for the cause and for the Black community? Are you posting about our movement, our trauma for the right reasons? Or are you posting about it because you looked at your numbers and you realized you're actually gaining more than before?
Okay, so this is where I'm going to have a quick moment and talk about performative activism, because this is something that we've seen a lot on social media. A lot of different people doing performative activism, pretending as if they're down for the cause when really they're not. And honestly, listen, right, I'm just going to be honest, right? And I'm mad as hell, right, because I'm heated, because I feel like Spankie spoke, and this is the first time that I have ever felt like my feelings were validated. Like, I wasn't wrong, like, I wasn't fucking crazy, because I thought that this was just nuts. It was nuts. And I'm only going to speak about my experience, and the only reason I'm speaking, because if you're going to sit there and say, oh, look at her turning this whole situation, talking about her, we are talking about Black pain, and my Black pain is just as fucking valid right now. Y'all can't tell me that my Black pain isn't valid, and or that I don't have I shouldn't be able to speak in this fucking moment. Because honestly, this shit really fucking pissed me off, no fucking end, and I just kind of feel as if, like, I was made to feel like I was so fucking wrong for feeling this, right? And I'm going to say it again. But this time, I'm not going through as much postnatal depression. And if people come at me at this moment in time, I feel like I'm strong enough to handle it. So fuck you, suck your mother. All right. Sorry, a little bit of patois came out. Just a little bit of patois. So y'all will remember earlier on in the year where things went absolutely fucking tits up for me, right? Where social media was calling me all of the names under the sun. I was a racist. Remember we had this discussion about Black people not being able to, you know, fully be racist. You can say something racist, but when it comes to actually feeling the oppression of systematic racism, that is something that unfortunately cannot be comparable to any other race besides Black, period, right? We've already had this discussion. That whole situation pissed me off because it all came down to Paige was a bully, right? Remember, I was a bully for speaking my opinion on questions that my audience asked. So the audience asked me questions, and then because I responded with my valid opinion, I was the bully. Remember? I was the bully, I was the aggressor, I was the mean person in that situation. Please remind us that that is exactly how that situation went, right? Questions were asked, I responded. Paige is the bully. She is actively bullying people. Now, let me ask you, what color were the people that I was bullying? Were they white cisgender women? Was I actively attacking them? Going out of my way to attack them every single day on social media? Or did I just impart my opinion?
I imparted my opinion and I got chastised all across social media, right? I had several people leave my channel telling me I was a good for nothing, piece of shit, garbage human being. I even had a white woman sit on her platform and tell me to go fuck myself in front of her audience while people applauded her and said, oh, she's so fantastic, when I never said anything close to that at all. So you want to sit there and talk about performative activism? I am sick to death, and I'm speaking specifically about those two ladies, right? I'm sick to death of being in a situation, especially when it comes to y'alls, where y'all are validated a lot higher than myself constantly. And I am having to quiet my voice. I am having to stop feeling the way that I feel. I have to pretend like injustice isn't going on within my community purely to appease the masses, and I'm done. I am done. I've been done. I am done. I'm done, right? That whole situation fucked my head up mentally in the worst fucking way that it could possibly fuck me up. The worst way. I had a white woman sit down on her platform and tell me to go fuck myself. And y'all clapped. But y'all will be the same fucking bitches who are sitting there with your power fist saying Black Lives Matter. Bullshit. Bullshit. Black lives didn't matter. Bull motherfucking shit. All of you who sat down and motherfucking clapped for this white woman telling me to go fuck myself. Every single last one of you. And for the other white woman who turned round and said to a whole fucking audience, oh, I'm not going to this party, aren't I a fucking great person? Look at me, I lost out on going to this big influencer party without going to the people individually and actually telling them that she's not attending before she went to her audience. That is performative activism. Going to your audience and speaking from a place of, oh my goodness, is exactly what that is. So guess what? You two, I don't want to hear y'all say shit about this story. I don't want you to breathe a word about this story. You're not talking about it. Not on my clock, not on my time. Because when it comes to performative activism, y'all's the best. Y'all's the biggest. Y'all's the best who ever fucking did it. Because when it came down to it, you put yourself before anybody else. You put yourself before gay men. You put yourself before a black woman. Period. 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 So I don't want to hear you say shit on this topic. I don't want to hear you sit down and virtue signal like you're the good, blessed white person, because when it came down to it, you didn't give a shit about another black person. When it came down to it, you stayed silent while the entire community sat down and pummeled people to the fucking ground, to the point of depression, to the point of suicidalness. That's where you were. You didn't give two fucks when it came down to it. So I don't want to hear you say shit. Don't say shit. Don't say a word. I don't want to hear you say fuck all. And every single fucking person who was there clapping for that white woman who told me to go and fuck myself, you motherfucking too. I don't want to hear y'all say motherfucking shit. Because those are the biggest performers out here in these streets. I prefer honesty. People who are shit, but at least they admit they motherfucking shit. That's what I prefer in this universe. Not people who will sit there on their platform and tell their whole audience of over 100,000 people that they're not going to this party because of these bad people before they even go to the individual and tell them anything. That's exactly what that is. Performative activism. People were sitting there thinking, gosh, she took such an L. Oh gosh, she's against some of the largest influencers on the platform. Bless her. No, fuck her. Fuck her. And when I said she should have had the common decency to speak to somebody about it before she went to her audience, I was not wrong. I was not wrong, because y'all stand so motherfucking hard for bullshit people. That's why y'all were too blinded to see. The most disrespected woman on this planet is the black woman, and that is period. And I'm at the point now where I am done being disrespected by people. I am done allowing people to talk shit about me like that. And I am done sitting there and feeling like I have to apologize for being who the fuck I am. Or have to validate who I am to appease people. But I was the bully, the aggressor. When y'all know I did nothing to Ashley Kyle but unfollow her. And I didn't even speak about it. I didn't make a post and say, I unfollowed Ashley Kyle, because I didn't do any of that. Why? Because I'm grown. Because I can just unfollow somebody and go about my fucking day. But I was made to feel bad about it. And even when I apologized and I sat down on my platform and I said, listen, Ashley, I actually to this day don't understand what you're upset about, but I'm sorry if I made you feel bad. Which was all that I could say, really. People are like, it's not a real apology. You're not even acknowledging why you're sorry, so it's not a real apology. Fuck you. Go kill yourself, Paige. Fuck all y'all bitches. Fuck all y'all bitches. You can never invalidate me. You can never silence my voice. You can never take away my blackness. You'll never be able to take away who I am. And these performative motherfucking activists are exactly the reason why this community is so fucked. Exactly that. Exactly that. Because I didn't actively go for nothing. I didn't actively go for nobody. I didn't say nothing about anybody. I wasn't doing anything. All I did was unfollow somebody. And when somebody asked, hey, how do you feel about that person? I'm like, bun that. I'm not really into it. That's it. And I'm the bully. Actively going out and bullying this woman. And y'all know the only reason people put bully to my name was because I was black. You know it. You know it. Because if anyone could say anything, I was mean at best. And that would really be at best because I weren't even mean about it. I just stated my opinion. And that has haunted me. We are in October now, right? That has haunted me for a whole ass year. And I felt like I was fucking crazy. I thought I was crazy. I thought I was out of my fucking mind. And then to have some other white bitches out here making threats calling me an anti-Semite? A racist? Like my black ass isn't at the bottom of the fucking totem pole anyway. Like, what more can I fucking do? Did I shoot the Gestapo? Like, fuck. And let me tell you about systemic racism, yeah? Right? And that covert racism that lives inside of everybody right now, right? So, bearing in mind, in that situation that happened in December, right? Where some of Rich Lux's old videos came to light and he said the N-word and all that jazz, right? How many videos do you think were made on Rich Lux? If you search Rich Lux racist, show up how many videos come up on there. In that time period. 20, if that. Bearing in mind, he's got a bigger platform, 400,000 subscribers, right? 20, if that. Okay, so then have a look at the other people who were involved at that time, Dustin Daly and Nick Snyder, and have a look at how many videos were made on them at that time period. 10, possibly? 10. Yeah, 10. About 10. Okay, so then have a look how many videos were made about me in that time period. Over 70 videos within 1 month. 70 videos about me being a bully to 2 white women in 1 month. Now, I don't care what y'all think about Rich Lux and the gang. I don't give a fuck, right? But the truth comes down to this. Rich Lux is the one who did the shits, and I had more videos made on me than him. Make that make sense. You'll have to take away 20 of the videos because T-Trigger took his fucking channel down. Then you tell me why I almost took my life in fucking January. Y'all didn't see me in January because I was trying to heal. I just had my daughter. My mind and my hormones were already all over the place. And I went through some of the deepest depression that I have ever had in my whole entire life. But do you know who was checking up on me and making sure that I was okay? Do you know who was making sure that my husband was, you know, reporting back with information about me because I just stopped speaking altogether? Those motherfucking people that y'all call horrible individuals. Do you know who saved Nick Snyder's life the night that he all done went crazy and relapsed on the drugs? That person was Rich Lux. So, regardless of what you think about these people, I'm not here to make you guys think that these people are good people. It's up to you. It's your opinion, right? But when I really needed somebody, they were there, and they were the people sticking up for me and being active. Those people, not the performers. Anyway, that was my thoughts on that situation. I'm not going to delve into that any further. It's some motherfucking bullshit. But when she spoke, when Spankie spoke about this, it spoke to my heart, and I was finally feeling validated for all of that shit. All of that shit. I finally felt like I wasn't crazy anymore. So thank you. Let's watch the rest of the fucking video.
And what hurts us the most is that she referred to this loss about posting about our trauma as her badge of honor. Influencers, what we are going through in the Black community, our experiences, our suffering, our oppression, our trauma is not your badge of honor. You do not get to call our pain, this real suffering that we have been fighting our entire lives, your badge of honor. You do not get to pat yourself on the back for the bullshit that we get beaten for, and then pretend like you took a major loss for us all, when in reality, you gained off our backs. While you're feeding your virtue signaling performative activism white savior complex and using the Black community to do.
I love y'all too. Thank you for the real ones who stuck around this whole time. I do appreciate it, for real. You guys have kept me going when things were fucking rough. And thank y'all, some of y'all who've been in the DMs. I know I can't get back to everybody, but to everyone who's been DMing me, especially through that time period where things were rough, where I was crying every day on Instagram. I know I was a mess. You know, Shannon, I don't know if you're here or not. Hufflepuff, I don't know whether you're here or not, but thank y'all, because that was a really bad time for me. And if y'all weren't there telling me that, like, things are gonna get better, I don't know where I would have been. So thank you.
Do it. There is actual suffering happening with Black and people of color, but you know what? Congratulations on your badge of honor.
Let's get into some shade, man. I can't sit here and cry this whole stream.
This is one of her most liked tweets, like, ever. And that's what makes this so dangerous, the manipulation of fans, because when people virtue signal like this and they get so much more praise for it, it makes them want to do it more. And you want to know how they know this is wrong? So in that first tweet, someone called it out and said, "Hundreds, LOL, calm down, check Social Blade," meaning they saw on Social Blade that they were actually gaining way more. And they responded by saying, "Yes, hundreds, I don't know why I would lie, LOL. I know why." And they put a screenshot of their analytics. Now on Instagram, it will show you three things: how many total new followers, and then it'll break that down with how many unfollowed you and how many followed you. But on their screenshot they posted, they cropped out the total followers and literally photoshopped a black bar across the number of gained followers. Like, I wish I was making this up. They did.
Okay, so this is the thing with performative activism. Blackheart, thank you so much for the super chat. Nissa says, "The situation wouldn't have even been a blip on the radar if you were right, and that's a sad fucking truth." Thank you so much, Nissa. I really appreciate it. We had another super chat as well from KLA, love you, Paige. I love you too, honey. Thank you so much. See, that's the thing though, right? With performative activism is that people gain so much more by it. Do you get what I mean?
people who do that performative activism will either gain followers, notoriety, clout, and all that kind of stuff. It reminds me very much of the Mr. Beast stuff, because okay, don't get me wrong, he does amazing things, he's a great guy, whatever. I don't know. I don't watch the kid, so I don't know, right? But when people are like, I can't believe he spent $1 million on this. I can't believe he spent 12 million on this to help people. I'm like, you do realize that everything it is that he does through his YouTube channel is like taxable, and so it works out for him in the long run. So he can like make content about this money that he's spending, and in turn like be able to deduct all of that shit off his taxes. But it's not just like a tax thing. He gains followers and notoriety by being able to do these extremely wild things. It's kind of like how Oprah Winfrey gave everybody in her audience a Porsche. You know what I mean? It's just like, there was no reason to do that, but I'm sure that A, there was a tax back situation for that, and B, like, she gained so much more from that one instance of kindness than she ever did probably the whole time that she's been doing, you know, what it is that she does. So it's about what people gain. Do you get what I mean? At least when it's performative in the Mr. Beast way or the Oprah way, it's kind of a little bit more obvious. But this kind of performative activism is just like under the radar. You know what I mean?
Didn't want people to see how many they actually gained for
Gemma, thank you so much for the super chat.
Posting about the movement. I don't understand why influencers go to such great lengths to manipulate their audience into thinking that they are a victim when they are not. Influencers really need to stop doing this shit. Another really hurtful exchange that I had with her was on the day that I released my film Unspoken. That was about my immense struggles with suicidal ideation and depression and anxiety, and I was in a really dark place that day.
Can I just say the visuals for that look stunning?
But I told her that I would send her a link, and I did, and she said some really nice things about the film, which I thanked her for, and we talked a little bit about mental health stuff, which I'm going to block that out of the text that I show. But inevitably, she once again turned it onto that same YouTube stuff about trashing James Charles and Jeffree Star and who's more powerful, and low-key also belittled me as a creator. And while I responded and was a listening, supportive friend, like, you can probably imagine that on the day that I release my film, sharing for the first time about suicide and depression, things that are just much bigger, I didn't want to hear about some beauty guru drama thirst for power. I didn't want yet another thing to be about her.
Everybody's had a friend like that though. Do you not feel like everybody has that one friend that like you'll be talking about a bad situation like, oh my god, you know, like my dog died or whatever, and this happened and this happened and this happened, and then they like turn around and they say something like, yeah, I completely understand, I get that, do you know what happened to me today? And then like the rest of the conversation will just be about them, and it's just like they literally said, oh, 1 second, and then they like carried on. Everybody has that friend, so I kind of feel for her on that. MTH, thank you so much for the 50 euros. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. I wish you had a comment. Oh, it's a heart. Thank you. Thank you so much. Josephine, thank you so much as well. I love you always. I love you forever.
But that's what happened again. And here's what she said in reference to James Charles and Jeffree. People who are on top in the community thrive doing far less work with far less integrity, basically dragging their work ethic by saying that they do far less work. So she should be the one on top. And that pisses her off. And she goes on to say, why do people far less hardworking than me have 10 million plus subscribers and all the power that comes with it? And
listen, you can say a lot of things about Jeffree Star and James Charles and how problematic as individuals they are. 100%, you can say what you want there. But when it comes to work ethic, I don't think anyone can sit down and take away either of their work ethic. Like, okay, James is a history of stealing, but if you take that out, right? If you take the history of stealing out, I don't think that they have like... You can't say that they aren't working out the arse, because they really are. They're working constantly. So I don't feel like that's fair. You can say, you know, y'all work the same amount and you don't get the same accolade, possibly, but not to the same amount. And I kind of feel like I can understand also influencers being upset by the fact that two of the most problematic people on the platform are getting the most attention. That I can agree with. That must be really irritating to know that you do what you can to stay out of trouble and to, you know, try and just put positivity out there into the universe, and then there's these two problematic people who are just hitting milestone after milestone after milestone. That must be irritating. I get that. But she's putting too much stigma on the fact that it's because they're gay men, when I don't really think that comes into the equation, not in this instance. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I needed this education and insight today. I love you, Paige. Thank you so much, Fox. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the super chat.
And it was just the same conversation of trashing these people over and over and over again. And I was just so tired of this narrative, because the thing is, she had collabed with Jeffree Star on his channel and reaped all of the benefits of using him on his channel.
So I have been a fan of her work for a long time.
And Jeffree had never appeared on her channel. Now, I don't know if there was a scheduling issue there, but I do know in private that she told me that she could and would never have Jeffree on her channel because he's too controversial.
So it was an honor. Thank you so much for coming on here.
But you had no problem using him for his audience.
If you guys are not already, subscribe to Mikey's channel.
And I think she got like 80,000 new subscribers from that. But you're still trashing him behind the scenes. And the thing that I didn't know was
it takes time for him to steal. Hi, Nick. Thank you so much for the super chat, Lauren. I really appreciate it.
that this was 2 days before her first collab with James Charles came out. And so literally she had already filmed a collab with James knowing that it's about to come out, but she was in my text messages trashing him yet again. James Charles can literally launch people's careers. So when you're trashing him, saying he's far less hardworking, less deserving behind the scenes, knowing that you're about to use him.
More importantly, also head over to Mikey's channel over on YouTube. Please subscribe. She is so incredibly talented.
And he didn't appear on her channel. I don't understand why you're still trashing him, except to realize that there is a deep-seated resentment, and that comes back to this idea that they're only successful likely because they're gay, that it was handed to them.
And I'm just so excited, you guys. She's literally the sweetest, the most talented ever in the entire world. So
Thank you, sister.
if you're genuinely friends with someone, if you're genuinely supportive of them privately and publicly, then it's not using, it's just friends doing a collab. But if you are trashing somebody behind the scenes 2 days before your collab comes out, and then you do another collab with them later on, and they still aren't on your channel, and you're still trashing them, then you're using them.
Thank you so much again, Mikey, for coming on my channel.
You are very welcome.
The absolute best. I had such a good time with you.
And if you guys want
I had such a good time with you. He talks so fast.
to see how deep this really goes,
Meanwhile, James is tweeting about me combining his top looks for his 10 mil video as though I didn't do that for 3 mil. She goes, girl, you have a collab with James coming up. How many people can say that? And you're getting major views and recommendations. Look at how you've been doing for months. I didn't even think you liked James. She goes, it doesn't negate how frustrating this is.
like back when she was first trying to schedule a collab with James Charles, she was talking shit about him behind his back to me while texting him at the same time. She had had this idea that she pitched to another YouTuber, but they didn't wind up doing it, so no one knew that idea existed, and James just happened to upload a video that was very similar to that idea, and she was very mad about it. But they start talking about doing a collab, and James says, great, like we need to come up with a really cool idea. And so while she's in that convo with James, she screenshots
So she's got to have had a conversation with James, because I'm like, where did she get those receipts from?
that and texts me and says, like, f you, dude, meaning f you, James, because she was pissed off that he wasn't just jumping to do a collab when she wanted.
Oh, that was in that text, right? Okay, so she sent a screenshot of the conversation between herself and James, and that's how she has it. She goes, so he goes, I want to do something really dope with you for a video one day. We have to plan something super cool. Then she said, well, luckily, it looks like we're on the same exact page with ideas. And then laughing face. No, I don't think that should be too hard for us. And he goes, like, fuck you, dude. That was so shady. That was very much like Regina George. She's like, oh my God, where do you get it? That is the fuggliest dress that I've ever seen. Like that. Like very that energy.
As if she's entitled to a collab with him. And then she said,
sending you my love. The past 12 months have kicked my butt emotionally too. Glad you're still fighting to live. Yeah, for sure. And thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. And I hope things are getting better for you, honey.
as in a text to me, I just showed you, James, I asked so-and-so to do the exact same thing you think your genius brain could have only come up with by itself. Like, how insulting. So on one hand over here, she's texting James saying really nice things, trying to use him for a collab, and at the same time she's texting me and trashing him by saying things like, F you, dude. I have a feeling if James knew you were talking about him behind his back like this, that he probably wouldn't collab with you. But that's just me. Here was another time where she's making plans with him and texts me saying, I don't understand the fascination with him at all. It's kind of incredible that the fastest growing MUAs in the beauty guru space are two gay men who are riddled with controversy.
If she just took the two gay men out and just said, are riddled with controversy, I'd be like, girl, I understand. Ain't that a bitch? But why is her fascination with them being gay? Like, honestly, there's a lot of things that being gay could come into a factor for, but this is not one of these things. Do you get what I mean? It's just not. Because if gay men were just excelling on the website, then we wouldn't see a situation where, and this is no shade, like my Manu MUA's been, you know, at the same amount of subscribers for a hot minute. He's growing slowly, you know, and that's fine. Or somebody who's extremely talented like Nady, Pop Lux, just simply not getting the accolade that he deserves. Do you get what I mean? So I don't think it's easier for gay men. This is a man who owns a brand. This is a man who has, you know, who has it all in that aspect. Whose stuff's going into like some major department stores and stuff, you know? Nady's doing it out here. And he doesn't get the accolade he deserves. Not even close to the accolade that he deserves. So a part of me is just kind of like, gay men don't have it easier. It's just... Girl.
Now, we all have thoughts on controversy, as I noted here, but over and over, she continued to point out the fact that they're gay in conversations where she was belittling and demeaning their success. I don't know what their sexual orientation has to do with this. Like, it's become clear to me that she has a problem with gay men being successful.
Lily, you can say that Pop Lux isn't that great. That's up to you, honey. But personally speaking, I feel like even if you can't say like he's the best of the best, they're the best that they've ever been, because that's not the truth. He isn't the best that there's ever been. But at the same time, I feel like there's people on this platform who do less, who get more. And that's just honest.
In the beauty community. It's this entitled mindset of thinking that because she's cis, straight, white, that by default she deserves to be at the top. Like, that's called discrimination. That's prejudice. She says she wants equality, but she doesn't want to make room for people who aren't exactly like her. She said multiple times in text and in person this idea that it's incredible, like it's appalling that the ones on top are gay men, that they're handed their success, not earned, that minorities are handed their success, that Hollywood isn't hiring white people. I mean, the number of times that I heard this stuff, and to me, the only person who would make this type of statement is someone who believes that success is owed to cis, straight, white people.
This is, okay, without equating the two, because I understand that it is like a straw man argument, but this is very all lives matter. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, well, this one time, this policeman was shot by a black man. Yeah, and that was on the news. So, what does that tell you? And you're just like, shut up. You know it's disproportionate. Shut up. Like, it's very that to me. Very, very that.
For anyone else. Like, how much is enough?
Nady can sing? I want to hear that.
How much power, how much money? When you have 4 million subscribers and average 1 to 2 million views per video, how much is enough until you stop abusing us with your privilege? Now, she went on to say that
because it seems like I'm held to an impossible standard that nobody else in the community is held to. Swoop has great hair. Swoop has amazing hair. I'd love to know what her hair care routine is, for real. Because her hair texture is very similar to my daughter's and I need help. But, yeah. Imagine thinking you're being held to an impossible standard. She's a cis white woman. Like, the world is rolling out a red carpet for you, honey. I'm sorry.
that she receives more hate and is held to a higher standard than anyone else in the community, and that her audience used to be sweet but now is nasty. And so my response was, it's shitty how unfair this world and the industry is, though of course there are many on top with the 10 to 20 million who've worked their ass asses off and get massive amounts of hate. I can think of Shane for one, even Jeffrey, meaning these 10 million creators, the James, the Nickys.
Also,
how unfair this
is sent before the recent scandals. I'm glad that she made that clear because I was like, okay.
world and the industry is, though of course there are many on top with the 10 to 20 million who've worked their asses off and get massive amounts of hate.
Just to let you know, you are completely heard and we love you. Lauren Chris on Twitter. Hi Lauren, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the $5. I really appreciate it.
I can think of Shane for one, even Jeffrey, meaning these 10 million creators, the James, the Nickys of the world. Like them or not, work their asses off. Stop trashing them in order to appease your privilege and act like they don't belong here or that they don't deserve the success that you want. Like you're entitled to this power. And let me remind you again, this was 2 days before her collab with James Charles came out on his channel, and she knew it was coming.
And I'm just so excited, you guys. She's literally the sweetest, the most talented ever in the entire
Say what you want about Mikey. She's so pretty. Isn't she just adorable? Goodness.
world. So,
and she's still trashing him. So after I sent that message and also said some really encouraging things to her, and let me remind you, this was on the day that I released my film about suicide and depression, she ghosted me. I didn't hear from her. And I wrote her again, really supportive things 2 days later, and still nothing. And I feel like that was probably because I said some things trying to support a different narrative than the one that she wanted then. Like, I didn't hear from her until 5 days later when she popped up to ask me if I'm coming to her birthday party, moving me one step closer to just being done. So fast forward a month later, and one of our last communications was over this tweet that I made about a creator who I didn't name. Here's what.
Hey Paige, hi everyone. This video was just jaw-dropping. Funny how people I get the certain feeling from and don't follow have nasty behavior like this. I honestly think that some people have like a real intuition with this. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I never clocked this kind of energy from GLAM and GORE, but she's never really spoken about her political views like that, so I don't know.
What my tweet said: that moment when you realize someone you thought was a good friend considers herself,
thank you for the super chat by the way,
more valuable, worthwhile a person because she has a higher sub count than you. Now, a couple of people had responded to the tweet wondering if maybe it was about her. So I get a long text from her, and from what I could tell, it was just that same gaslighting format again. She starts on my side saying, hope everything's okay, but then it shifts and she says, sorry that the overlap in our audience has some speculating.
It does sound exhausting, CO. Like, I couldn't imagine having a friendship like this. This is too much work, okay? I'm just sorry. It's too much work.
But it makes me uncomfortable. You haven't publicly denounced the speculation, so it just allows people to continue to think maybe it's about me. So I realized that this was just a damage control thing that she's doing here. I don't think she actually cares about what I may be going through. But then she pushes it further by trying to confuse me. Here's where the gaslighting starts. Unless you haven't denounced it because it is about me, in which case I wouldn't even know where to start there, since I wouldn't understand how that applies. Meaning, well, this couldn't possibly be about me because that wouldn't make any sense at all. I'm saying this assuming it must not be about me, but in which case it makes me uncomfortable, and like the reality is, because you injected yourself in this, you just made it about you. The thing is, so many times people in powerful positions try to manipulate or dictate what the smaller person does on their own platform, that I should denounce my own followers on my own Twitter. It's amazing that she could exemplify what my tweet was about in her response to my tweet. Like, I can't imagine she'd ever go to James Charles or Jeffree Star or Nikki Tutorials and tell them to publicly denounce comments on.
Paige, go to Mikey's IG. You guys always tell me when the tea is actually happening. Instagram. Look at me, I've been blocked from Jeffree Star's Instagram. Love that for me. Hold on. Oh, I'm not on my laptop. I can't watch it live. One sec. Let me follow her because the tea's going to be there. Oh, goodness. Right. Wait. Whenever people tell me about the tea spilling as it's happening, like, I have to see it. If I have to show you my computer screen, I sure will. Hold on, sorry. She hasn't got any Instagram stories. I don't understand. No, that's not what it is. What? That's her old IG. On Twitter? What's that? What are we doing? Go to Dustin's Twitter. Okay, Dustin. Ooh, ooh. Okay, not Mikey posting to Instagram, basically deflecting with a notepad apology. Guys, okay, the tea. So she said, I'm sorry for my behavior in years past and I should have said this sooner. I ignorantly, selfishly, truly have not understood, nor do I take the time to listen to others' hardships when I was so confused, consumed and angered with my own problems. I equated things that are not equatable. I have said things I regret and I feel don't reflect who I am today. I am ashamed of the jokes I made in the past. I excused edgy humor. I'm ashamed of the times that I've been incredibly tone deaf and excuse that even in my past apologies by my well-meaning intentions united. If I'm missing the mark and good intentions or not, I'm missing the mark and should have been listening. And some things simply weren't missing the mark, they were just plain wrong. Rihanna mentioned Bruce's tutorial. In truth, I have not just wanted them to go away because the thought of addressing it out seemed seemingly nowhere terrified me. So basically she's saying that she's wanted to talk about this for a while, but she's decided not to talk about it for a while because the idea of bringing it up out of nowhere would like confuse people. Well, that's bullshit because we all know that bringing up shit out of nowhere that you've done can actually work well for influencers. Case in point being Jenna Marbles. There's a lot of controversy that a lot of people didn't know about that she brought and told everyone, yeah, I did that and I said it too. Okay, I have been afraid of being condemned for my past actions forever. I have changed a lot in the past 2 years and I'm ashamed of who I used to be. How self-absorbed I was, the way that I used to direct my own insecurities into other people. But some of this stuff was brand new, like the recent collab with the beauty influencers with James Charles. Like that was shitty recent behavior. And the way I used to divert my own insecurities onto other people, the way I've been defensive, the way I've refused to listen. But you are all owed an apology and I've been too cowardly to say it. It took me seeing a lot of my own problems through some events I went through last year that very few people in my life know about to be open to the basics. I always should have wished I always should and have wished I had been open long beforehand. I've been dealing with this privately and I do not like who I used to be and I've been working on this. I've lacked empathy, I've lacked patience, I've lacked courage, and I hope that the future actions would show that I don't stand by things I've said or done in the past. I should have apologized as well. Again, I was choosing to comfort myself over the comfort of those I've hurt. This is coming too late and I'm sorry, it's not nearly enough, but I'm deeply sorry. Learning how to be a good ally will be a lifelong journey, but I want to listen, grow, and be better.